Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Black Girl Iowa podcast. I'm your host, Emily, and today we're just going to do a check in episode. One of the reasons why I wanted to do a check in is because these last 2 weeks, I think, have been incredibly hard and difficult for a lot of people for obvious reasons. For me, myself, working through um, a lot right now in my personal life, which include a job transition, going back to therapy weekly for, working through some personal things. Also finishing up my grad program. And, after my conversation that I had last week with my cousin, I thought it was really important for me to just pump the brakes and just kind of talk a little bit about how I'm kind of prioritizing things, where I kind of see my future going for the next 0 to 4 years, and really what I want to do with this podcast even. So a couple of things. First and foremost, I am working on a really awesome episode with two of my very good friends and past guests where we are actually breaking down the election, talking about the result, talking about the some of these social dynamics that have kind of happened after the fact. And, to really try and think about where we currently are sitting right now post election and looking at the next 4 years. If you guys have been watching the news, if you guys have been on social media, um, the next 4 years are going to be incredibly difficult for everybody. I think that it really is going to be something that all of us, when we think of the worst, this is kind of what it is. And now, unfortunately, we all get to see it played out. So, what I've really been trying to do these last few weeks is to give more time to myself to where I'm not so overloaded and overwhelmed. Um, I have not been turning on a lot of cable news television lately. So the CNN, the MSNBCs, even once in a while, I'll turn on to Fox News just to see what they're yapping about. I haven't even really done that just because I don't get any kind of good feeling from the news right now. And not like, and that's not to say that I've ever gotten good feelings from the news. Um, but again, I'm really trying to focus myself and my mental health on the things that I want to hold near and dear to me. And right now, the news, I can't do it. So, the other thing that I have been doing also is I've gone back into therapy and I'm starting to go weekly now again, which is fantastic because I feel like a lot of the times what happens, especially when you are on a mental health journey, is, you get to a point where it's not so much that you can't move forward, but you have to really understand what's holding you back. And so I'm really trying to work some of that stuff out in therapy. I'm always going to be very transparent with you guys on where I am in my therapy journey. And right now I'm in that defining point where I am trying to understand some things that I have gone through over the last couple of years, how some of those things may have been holding me back, and then where I see myself in the future. The other thing is grad school. I will be done with grad school in less than 2 weeks, and I graduate next month. So, working on my final project has taken a really big chunk of my time. But what is so interesting about me being done with grad school within the next 2 weeks is that I'm starting to realize that when I am done, I am going to have time to do other things. And that kind of scares me a little bit because I'm like, wait, what am I going to do with this extra time that I have? And one of the things that I am committing myself to doing is getting back into reading. Um, I have always been a person that reads quite a bit. My goal, one of my lifetime goals is to read 100 books in a year. The closest I came was in 2021. I finished 91 books in 365 days. Incredibly proud of myself. But, um, I've really been thinking about how I'm going to spend my time. One of the ways that I'm going to spend my time is doing a reading challenge. And so what I did was I took some time yesterday and decided to put together a book list of books that I already have. That was another one because I don't want to just be going out and buying more books because I have plenty. So, with that being said, like I said, I went on Canva just yesterday and I said, you know what? I'm going to pick these books and I'm going to put them on a list. So, yesterday on my TikTok and on Instagram, I decided to announce my full book list reading challenge for 2025. No, I will be sure to put in a link to my blog where all of the books will be listed, as well as a spot where you can download the list. And all of these books are by a group of diverse authors that talk about anything from nonfiction to fiction. There is one book on here that is actually the second in the series, and that's because I finished the first in the series at the beginning of the year. And I will also be sure to tag that in there as well. So, but some of the books on there are How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, American Royalty by Tracy Livesay. That is a fiction romance novel. Almost There, A Twisted Tale by Farah Rashan, which is a retelling of The Princess and the Frog with Princess Tiana. And then one that I am incredibly excited to read is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. So I bought that book probably 2 years ago now. But I'm really excited to read about his presidency. So that book list can be found on my blog. It'll all be available when this episode releases. The other thing that I really, really want to start stepping into also is just making sure that I am being present on social media. So I actually had a post on TikTok that kind of went viral. It's actually sitting right now with around 80,000 views, thousands of comments, thousands of likes, a lot of saves. And it was really just speaking directly to white people and how they can support Black people over the next 4 years. And there was this whole discourse that happened that white women would essentially wear a blue bracelet to show Black women that they were safe. Well, in my experience, I have actually never been safe around a white woman. So a blue bracelet is not going to be the common denominator for me. So there's been a lot of discourse and going back and forth, and I decided to go ahead and put my 2 cents out there. Then boom, next thing you know, I've got all these likes, and thankfully, round of applause for me. I'm at just under 10,000 followers right now on TikTok. So really going to be hopefully doing some more content creation, really putting my brand out there and really getting the word out about this podcast. One of the primary things, and I have said this over and over again on the show, and I will continue to say it and yell it from the rooftops, is that the Black Girl Iowa podcast is meant to showcase, celebrate, and discuss the experiences of Black women and their connection to the state of Iowa. Now, with that being said, this space that I have carved out is for us, but at the same time, it is a space that I will always protect. And this is a protected space. And I am really looking forward to really putting out more content, whether it be on social media or on this podcast, that is really going to speak to that. I really think that as Black women, we deserve to revel in the true meaning of self-care. And we deserve to, perform that revolutionary act that Shanice Whitney told us about in a previous episode of rest. And I really think that these next 4 years, that is something that we are going to do. And I really want to make sure that this podcast is a place that is going to advocate for that, make suggestions, and then also just be that place of comfort for Black women, and also a place to learn for others outside of our community. So That is what I have going on. I know this episode was super duper short, but I do appreciate everyone that has been with me. All of my new listeners, thank you so much for being here. This podcast, like I have said multiple times before, it is my baby, it is my dream, and I am so thankful and blessed to be able to actually be doing this right now. So, how can you guys get in touch and stay up with Black Girl Iowa? Please be sure to follow me over on TikTok and Instagram, both at Black Girl Iowa. I do have a website, www.blackgirliowa.com, where I have a few blogs posted, a spot where if you want to ask me a question, you can, and it might get answered on a later show. And then also, that's where I will be posting the book club and all of the information on that. Last but not least, of course, shameless plug, the Black Girl Iowa shop is open on Etsy where you can get a lovely hoodie like the one I am wearing. I also have crew neck sweatshirts, notebooks, tote bags, and a few other things that are on there that are things that I have handmade and handcrafted, such as birthday cards, Christmas cards, holiday cards, and also memory books. So, again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining and being with me along the way. Next Monday, November 25th, I will have a fresh episode. And please stay tuned through the month of December because I will be having others on from the area that will be talking about everything from getting engaged in local government to women sharing their birth stories and the need and necessity for women's reproductive rights, as well as having conversations about women in STEM. So, again, thank you so much for being here. Signing off. This is Black Girl Iowa, Emily, and I will catch you guys on the next episode.